Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're completely bypassing all those dry textbook formulas to officially open the mystery box on how wealth building actually works. And look, we definitely aren't talking about magic shortcuts, overnight successes, or winning the lottery here. Instead, we're going to look at the quiet, invisible principles that are repeated daily by those at the top, right up until their ordinary lives become, well, absolutely extraordinary. So let's crack open the vault and dive right in.
I want you to picture two drastically contrasting realities. On one hand, imagine a crowded subway at 7 a.m. You know the scene. The air is stale, the train is absolutely packed, and you've got hundreds of exhausted commuters just staring blankly ahead. They're physically trading their limited, precious daily energy just to secure a paycheck, kind of trapped in a routine they can't quite escape. Now, deeply contrast that physical and mental drain with a quiet, still morning. A solitary investor sits, sipping coffee before sunrise, peacefully analyzing a financial report from a comfortable space overlooking the city. Today, we're going to discover exactly what separates that exhausted commuter from the peaceful investor, and more importantly, how literally anyone can begin bridging that gap.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, The Great Wealth Illusion, where we'll be debunking society's biggest assumptions.
We are constantly conditioned by society to believe that getting rich requires extreme luck, an insanely high salary, or just physically grinding away harder than everybody else. But honestly, that is a total illusion. The hidden truth is actually way less chaotic. The system isn't just some giant game of chance. You literally have to stop passively wishing for a windfall and realize that real wealth is a deliberate architecture. The people who built lasting financial freedom, they don't just stumble into it. They strategically architect it. It's like every single dollar you earn is treated like an employee, and its sole job is to go out and recruit more dollars. You have to start actively strategizing rather than just waiting for a happy accident.
And to completely shatter the whole inheritance myth right now, get this. A massive, comprehensive study of modern millionaires found that nearly 80% are entirely self-made. 80%! This is an incredibly hopeful and staggering statistic because it totally democratizes the concept of wealth. It proves without a shadow of a doubt that ownership habits completely trump inheritance. I mean, if 8 out of 10 millionaires built it from scratch, it means building wealth is a replicable skill, not some exclusive bloodline. You don't need to be born into money to achieve it. You just need to thoroughly understand and apply this architecture yourself.
That brings us right to Pillar 1, the ownership principle.
So what's the very first pivotal decision these self-made individuals actually make? Well, it all comes down to ownership. Imagine two coworkers who earn the exact same paycheck over a 15-year period. The consumer operates on immediate dopamine. They use every single raise to upgrade their lifestyle. They finance a flashier car, buy a massive TV, snag designer clothes. Ultimately, they're buying things that rust, break, and depreciate. But the owner? The owner operates with delayed gratification and does something radically different. They buy shares of index funds. They invest in small businesses. They acquire equity and intellectual property. While the consumer is busy buying things that rust, the owner radically shifts their entire focus to buying things that produce.
This profound shift in mindset leads us directly to the ultimate goal, which is compound freedom. You see, a traditional salary is extremely demanding because it requires your constant, daily physical attention. The exact moment you stop working, your paycheck literally stops paying. But when you acquire producing assets, those assets become the tireless engines of your wealth. Think of a rental property generating income for you over a long weekend, or a piece of software selling licenses overnight while you're sound asleep. The wealthy eventually reach this amazing tipping point where they completely stop asking, how can I earn more money? And their entire focus shifts to, how can I own more assets?
Let's move on to Pillar 2, time and value creation.
To generate the momentum to acquire those producing assets in the first place, you really have to understand how to treat your most finite resource. And here's the brutal reality we all have to face. Money can return, but time never does. You can always hustle, take a second job, and make another dollar, but you can never, ever manufacture another minute. This is exactly why millionaires are relentlessly protective of their time. They leverage automation, they utilize artificial intelligence, and they delegate tasks ruthlessly. For example, they might happily pay a service to handle their lawn care just to win back 3 hours on a Saturday. Why? Precisely because they use those 3 newly freed hours to build a business or acquire an asset.
But buying back your time is really only half the equation here. If you just sit on the couch with all that newly saved time, your bank account isn't going to magically grow. Society naturally rewards innovation and the ability to solve complex problems, not just clocking physical hours at a desk. You know, society loves to glorify the physical, exhausting grind, but the open market only cares about the scale of your impact. It's simple math. If you solve a $10 problem, like fetching coffee or doing basic data entry, you get paid $10. But if you solve a $1 million problem, like streamlining a massive company's global logistics, you get paid for it. It is entirely about learning highly valuable skills and scaling your impacts to solve much larger problems.
Which leads us perfectly into Pillar 3, the power of patience.
Scaling your impact and learning those high-value skills naturally creates this massive psychological tug-of-war between chasing quick money and patiently building real wealth. Immediate gratification is a massive, incredibly dangerous trap. Do you know what the absolute biggest financial tragedy is? It's the reality that most people pull their money out of the market or they completely abandon their side business literally right on the edge of a major breakthrough. They get entirely exhausted by the boring middle, those months and years of slow progress, and they give up right before the exponential compound growth finally kicks in and shoots upward. Patience isn't just a virtue here, it is an absolute superpower.
Let's walk through exactly how this compound effect plays out over 2 decades through the story of 2 childhood friends. At age 20, they have the exact same start, the same neighborhood, and the same education. But their environments subtly shift. One slowly surrounds himself with consumers and fast entertainment, the other fills his time with mentors, books, and investors. By age 30, the divergence is clear but still seemingly bridgeable. One is heavily upgrading his lifestyle with debt, while the other is quietly buying unglamorous assets. But by age 40, the contrast is absolutely dramatic and irreversible. One experiences total financial freedom, while the other is drowning in immense stress. Their lives didn't diverge because of one lucky moment. Tiny, daily habits, what you read, who you listen to, how you spend a random $20, create a staggering and insurmountable divide over 20 years.
And that brings us to our final piece, the master key, consistency.
We've covered the crucial steps, right? Acting like an owner, fiercely protecting your time, creating massive value, and practicing long-term patience. But the ultimate twist of this whole process is that the secret to wealth is basically a snowball effect. These principles aren't heavily guarded secrets locked away by the elite in some vault. They're simply ignored because they are boring. Doing the right thing with your money once is easy, but doing the ordinary, unglamorous financial habit every single month for 30 years, that is where the real magic lives. It's the relentless, consistent application of these basic rules, day in and day out, that guarantees an absolute shift in your financial reality.
So your daily battle plan requires a fundamental shift in how you operate. It requires spending less than you earn so you can buy assets well before you ever indulge in luxuries. It demands that you constantly learn valuable skills to build multiple resilient income streams. You've got to relentlessly protect your time, read every single day, and consciously choose better influences. Most importantly, you must train your brain to think in decades, not days. This isn't just a casual list of good ideas. It's a definitive, uncompromising playbook for constructing an invisible architecture of wealth that will completely change your family's trajectory.
The greatest financial secrets were never truly hidden. They were just ignored by the masses who favored comfort over discipline. Your financial future begins with better, more deliberate decisions, not just magically hoping for more money to fall from the sky. The architecture of wealth is entirely accessible, and it's just waiting for you to build it. So the only definitive question left for you is this: moving forward, will you be a consumer or an owner? The choice, starting right now, is entirely yours. Keep learning, keep building, and I'll catch you in our next explainer.